Hi, this is Doug Ward from Tech Britain. Today I'm here with Brian from Stipso. Thanks for your time, Brian. We're currently in Tech Cube in Edinburgh. If you'd just like to let our audience know a little bit about yourself and Stipso.
Sure. Stipso is an Edinburgh-based startup, and we are trying to create a Q&A space for numbers on the web. So if you think of the way Quora works, or any of the questions and answers sites, that's all with text. We're trying to do it with numbers. So that, to give an example, let's say you're crowdsourcing data contributions about, it could be, the original topic actually was salary and cost of living. So trying to gather how much do you earn in every city in the world and how much does it cost to live there, to contextualize it, just to get users to contribute through numbers. And all output through interactive infographics.
Fantastic. And what do you see, what is the vision for Stipso long term?
Well, certainly the aim is to develop a really good web company, one that creates a really good service for users and generates a lot of revenue as well.
So we were just speaking earlier off camera about, you're obviously originally from Dublin.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting for the viewers to know how.
Yeah, we're a mixed bunch. There are 4 of us in the team. There's the 3 founders and a chairman, a local chairman who's come in. I'm from Dublin, and I met my co-founders in Barcelona. I had a direct marketing business in Barcelona. Stephen Drost, he's the CEO. Stephen is half Scottish, half German. He had a market research agency in Barcelona. And then Yaniv Mazur is Israeli Lithuanian, actually. So we're an international bunch. And then David Farker is the chairman, he's a local guy. Tech entrepreneur of pretty significant amount of experience. And myself and Stephen and Yaniv met in Barcelona and started thinking about the idea, as I said, about salaries and cost of living originally. We didn't think Barcelona was the place to do it. At the time, there was virtually no tech ecosystem there. There was very little angel investor ecosystem either. So we wanted to relocate to somewhere that was English speaking, had access to a lot of tech folk, and had access to early stage investors. But also was cheap, because everything else, London would have been the place, but of course London's expensive, so we picked Edinburgh.
Cool. And since you've been in Edinburgh, how have you found it as a place to do business, and also how have you found the tech community since you've been here?
Yeah, really very, very open and engaging. Certainly when we first arrived, it was a positive change from doing business in Spain, I felt, and Stephen felt. We've been able to get access to a lot of people within the business community and the tech community in Scotland, not just in Edinburgh. People are quite open to talk and help if they can. So there's that part of it is very positive. And there are there's a very developed angel investor network as well in Scotland. I think it has one of the highest levels of angels per capita in the world. Maybe the downside of the difficulty there is that they're not tech specific. And they have come from traditional industries, and that's what they know, and that's what they often invest in. But there is a lot of capital here. It's whether or not it can be accessed by tech startups.
And your experience in Spain, was it, you find the community is more closed off?
Yeah, well, I wasn't really involved in the tech community in Spain, but I was certainly in the business community, and I had 2 businesses in Spain, and the second one, my partner, was Catalan, so I had a foot in both camps, in the local world and in the international world within Barcelona. And definitely it's far more closed, far more difficult to access, far less welcoming.
Okay. So in terms of being based in Edinburgh, and we'd like to talk about the government's position in the tech community, where you feel what you're happy with them doing at the moment, and where you feel that maybe they could be improving to help Edinburgh's tech ecosystem?
Yeah, there's. I mean, in Scotland, a lot of initiatives seem to be driven by public bodies and public money, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. I don't really think that's the way to go. I think the public sector needs to be the private sector needs to be what drives an entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially in the tech space. There was an interesting, recently Steve Blank, who you may know Steve Blank, the kind of father of the lean startup movement and all of that. He was in Helsinki last year. He was brought in by the Finnish government to basically analyse their ecosystem. And he looked at their university. They had a great university, and there are loads of tech entrepreneurs, loads of devs and coders that want to do stuff. So that was great.
Yep.
And there's an investment industry, but it's very much public money dominated, and that was the big problem. And I think there's something similar here, that people wait for the public sector to do stuff. We have a couple of VCs here, but really not very many. Two in essence. We've got a lot of angel networks, but they're not usually tech focused. So I think what the government could do is maybe create, just to help with the what seem to be the little things, but are hard things for startups when they've got no money. For example, office space, rent, rates. Edinburgh City Council has talked a little bit about maybe they might do that. We'll see how that goes. But that would be great. That would be great. And TechCube here is a private initiative, but it's potentially an excellent one.
Absolutely, that's fantastic what's going on. It will only be a good thing for the future of Edinburgh. So I guess the next thing I'd like to ask is, we were speaking again about you've just recently been over to Dublin.
Yeah.
And your experiences there. I think that'd be really interesting for the viewers.
Yeah, there's a very, very different scenario in Dublin compared to Edinburgh. One that I wasn't really that aware. I haven't lived in Dublin in over a decade, so I wasn't so aware of it. Dublin is closer to London than Edinburgh, and where it is vis-a-vis tech. Part of that is government incentives and obviously fiscal incentives for big companies, but they've managed to attract Google, Facebook, Twitter, Zynga, amongst others. So those guys, and they've taken a pretty substantial presence there. They've got the European headquarters for each of those companies is there. I think Google have about 2,000 employees in Dublin. So that obviously creates a big, that creates a lot of press and a lot of publicity, but it's also a big draw for developers. And there are a lot of developers from all over Europe moving to Dublin as a result. There are currently, according to Enterprise Ireland, there are currently about 2,000 dev jobs unfilled in Dublin, which is pretty substantial. There are also a big advantage that I think Dublin has at the moment is there are a lot of tech angels. There are a lot of guys who built businesses and had successful exits and are reinvesting in the tech community.
Just like you see over in the States, for example.
Yeah, it is that thing, and I think here we have a bit of a chicken and egg problem. That until we have some big exits, and then those guys reinvest. They don't even need to be big exits, in fact, but because the problem for startups, or one of the problems for startups in Edinburgh, I think, is access to early stage funding, and that's a problem for startups in most places. But in Dublin, there certainly seems to be a lot more of it available.
So, yeah, that's
the downside, by the way, though, in Dublin, which is sort of paradoxically caused by all the positives, is that it's very, very hard to hire.
Imagine,
people, if you offer someone a job and then Google offers them a job at twice the salary, etc. So it's hard to hire out.
So in some ways, the fact that Britain doesn't really have these people, basically, well, I mean, they do in London, say for Edinburgh, for example, the fact that Google isn't there, swallowing up the talent.
Yeah, there's an upside to it.
Creates a great opportunity for startups in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I think Edinburgh has a lot of advantages as well, and I mean, the reasons that we came here, I think they're still valid. Informatics at the University of Edinburgh is one of the very best informatics departments in Europe, possibly the best. So there are a lot of graduates every year. There must be 500 or 600 graduates, I would think. It's a reasonably cheap city to live in, certainly compared to London or indeed Dublin. There's a good standard of living here despite the crap weather. And there is a growing tech community, and things like TechCube are part of that. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say we all know each other, but everybody's kind of aware of what's going on, what other people are doing, and people are very helpful. You know, there is a community feeling, more so than there was actually when I first came here 2 years ago.
Well, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time, Brian. It's been a real pleasure.
No problem.
Cheers. Thank you.